Aviation Administration for an exemption to fly drones emitting LED lights, which it calls fixels, for aerial shows and firework displays over the parks. The request is for Walt Disney World and Disneyland in California, and they want to fly up to 50 drones at a time. These drones would fly pre-programmed flights for at least 100 feet away from guest viewing areas. The application said that they would be deployed at a monitored platform designated at the launch land area and restricted access to areas of each resort. These fixels will be magically incorporated into Disney story elements that engage and inspire children and their families. Well, that's the plan. Once the show segment concludes, the drones will return to the landing launching area. Flight time will be restricted around about 10 minutes, and only if the weather is favourable, with wind speeds of no more than 10 miles per hour. And what I didn't know until I saw the story is that Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts are registered as no-fly zones, so there shouldn't be any danger from these drones to other aircraft. And also, sticking with Disney, the Walt Disney Corporation and Shanghai Shenhe Group has announced that the Shanghai Disney Resort will host a multi-day grand opening celebration, culminating in a spectacular welcoming ceremony for the resort's first official guests on the 16th of June this year. The resort, located in the Pudong district of Shanghai, will be Disney's first destination resort in mainland China, and it features classic Disney storytelling characters with all new experiences tailored for the people of China. On the opening day, the Disney resort will include Shanghai Disneyland, the Shanghai Disneyland Hotel and Toy Story Hotel, Disney Town, and the Wishing Star Park. The resort represents the biggest foreign investment project in Shanghai and one of the largest foreign investments in the history of China. The opening of the Shanghai Disney Resort will mark a key milestone in the development of tourism in the area, changing the landscape of the industry and delighting guests for future years to come. Shanghai Disney Resort broke ground in 2011 and has celebrated numerous construction milestones since then, including the topping off of the iconic Enchanted Storybook Castle in the spring of last year. And back in October, the resort kicked off the first of several large-scale job fairs aimed at ultimately recruiting thousands of cast members from across China. So if you've done Disney all over America, done Disney Paris, and done Disney in Japan, well, there's one in Shanghai you can then use to tick off your list. And if you're planning on going, please do let me know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, I'm checking in for my flight.
Lovely. Business or pleasure?
Holiday.
And where will you be staying?
With my parents, they live over there.
Lovely. Travel insurance?
Oh, no thanks.
Have you got travel insurance?
No.
Checked to see if you need any vaccinations?
No.
Checked out the local laws?
No, look. Why do I need to know all this? I'm just staying with my parents.
Is either of your parents A, a local lawyer, or the chief of police, B, fabulously wealthy, C, the owner of a private plane with its own fully trained medical staff, or D, none of the above?
D?
Lovely. Are you a superhero and in fact immortal?
Things can go wrong on holiday abroad, even if you're staying with family. So check it out before you check in. Find out more at gov.uk/knowbeforeyougo.
You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. I seem to be mentioning disrupted flights by passengers quite a lot at the moment, and hopefully the Flybees campaign to crack down on this will start to make some decent headway, although it wouldn't have anything to do with the first story I'm going to be telling you about. It's been another flight diversion. This one involves a 35-year-old Israeli man, and he was flying on an Austrian Airlines flight from Vienna to New York, which had to be diverted to St John's in Newfoundland in Canada. Police say they were called to St John's International Airport after the plane landed a few days ago. The passenger was removed from the plane and taken to a hospital to be seen by a doctor. The passenger was now facing 4 criminal charges, including causing a public disturbance, uttering threats, interfering with flight crew duties and endangering passengers. The Crown is opposed to the guy's release, so he will remain in custody until he has a bail hearing, I think which is due just after this was recorded. The passenger told the judge that his English was not so good and that he doesn't remember what happened during the flight. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him. Also, a BA flight from Ibiza was evacuated after a passenger was found to be travelling on fake passports, with a fake passport even. The police boarded the aircraft and removed the woman, and then they dismantled her seat. All the passengers were taken off and all their bags were then rescreened, and according to a local newspaper, the aircraft was then searched 3 times by an explosive team while it was on the tarmac. This incident delayed the flight by more than 3 hours. BA confirmed in a statement that the aircraft was returned to the stand after authorities realised that a passenger was travelling with what they call incorrect documents. So do you remember the story I told you about an Airbnb property that was rented out and it turned into be a bit of a rave? Well, here's another Airbnb horror story for you. Although I'm not trying to put you off, I've had loads of customers who have used Airbnb have never had any problems. But anyway, there's always 1 or 2 stories which are worth listening to. Police found drugs grown at an Australian Airbnb property. A family visiting Queensland in Australia had a rude awakening just after Christmas when 10 armed police officers stormed the Airbnb rental they were staying in and they were looking for drugs. This is according to the Daily Telegraph. The parents and their 5 children were visiting from New South Wales and they were on an 11-day holiday. And of course, the father said the cops didn't know we were innocent, so it wasn't a friendly reception. The police officers broke down the door to a room where they found 8 marijuana plants and a hydroponic growing system, again according to the Daily Mail. And the family were then questioned for 5 straight hours. The father said that the homeowner had put a bookcase in front of the door to the room and told the family not to enter because there were electrical issues in it. On top of the $1,255 the family had to pay for the rental, they also had to spend another $1,800 to cover the cost of another place to stay. Airbnb have refunded the family's rental fees and reimbursed them the additional money that they had to spend. A spokesperson said, more than 60 million guests have stayed at an Airbnb property, and while incidents like this are incredibly rare, we do take them very seriously. So I wonder if this is going to be running week on week on week, more and more horror stories, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm often being asked why I'm not a travel agent anymore. Well, this story might help to explain. A report carried out by US digital marketing intelligence company SimilarWeb has found that the word Expedia generated 32.7 million organic searches during January to November 2015, which is more than any other travel-related phrase. After Expedia, other brands that figured highly with Googlers including Kayak, American Airlines, TripAdvisor, Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, Airbnb, Orbitz, and the more generic cheap flights. I know these are all American companies, but my little one holiday hut will never have featured very highly. The study said only 3% of traffic came via paid search results, such as click-through from a sponsored listing. Generic travel-related search words that figured highly included flight tracker, restaurants near me, vacation rentals, and plane tickets. So that's the reason why I can never compete with that sort of searching on the internet. Poor me. Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. I'm a man, just about, but at heart I'm just a little boy, and nothing throws you as much when you're a little boy like me when you find out one of your friends is a nudist, especially when you find out when they posted the pictures on Twitter and Facebook. But anyway, she might be interested in this. Thailand will, in June this year, be hosting the world's first naturalist conference on a string of houseboats floating in the middle of a big tropical lake. The conference, NatCon 2016, is the 5th International Naturalist Conference, which has now been announced, and the dates are the 10th to the 12th of June. The string of rafts will be arranged in a half circle with different nationalities on each raft. Having rafts for each different nationality reflects the increasing number of naturalists from India, China, Malaysia and Singapore who have started visiting Thailand as a number of naturalist resorts have grown. There are 5 in Thailand catering for naturalists, and shortly after the conference there'll be a new friendly resort in the top end of the market, which is scheduled to open in Pattaya. I bet I've got that wrong. A session during the afternoon on the second day of the conference is dedicated to discussing how naturalism in India can move forward. It is hoped that the Indian participants during this session will be able to agree on the founding of a Naturalist Association for India. Participation is limited to either ordinary or premium members of the Naturalist Association in Thailand. Non-members who wish to participate must first apply for membership at thailandnaturalist.com/membership-options. So there you go. I will put the link on my Facebook page, John Guinn Travel Show, so if you are interested in popping along, you'll be able to apply for membership. Now, I've always had a soft spot for Norwegian cruise lines. When I was looking at becoming a travel agent, I attended a conference with a consortium, and the rep from Norwegian Cruise Line, or NCL as I'm going to say from now on, was the only person willing to chat to me. Because I wasn't a travel agent, nobody saw any profit in me, but he was very encouraging. And for that point, and the fact that they sponsored this magnificent chocolate fountain and all sorts of chocolates, because at the time they were featuring chocolates very heavily on their cruises, that means I've still got a soft spot for them. Anyway, the cruise line has announced its summer 2017 itineraries, and that's including 3 new Alaska tours, Bermuda and Bahamas and Florida cruises. And they're going from New York City, and there's Boston to Bermuda sailings as well, Canada and New England cruises, and 3 and 4 night all-inclusive cruises from Miami to the Bahamas. There's quite a lot, but I'm going to go through them all in a second. So Alaska by sea, there's going to be a number of itineraries ranging from 7 to 14 nights. NCL will continue to offer the youngest fleet in Alaska, with 3 ships sailing in summer 2017, the new Norwegian Pearl and Norwegian Jewel, and also there will be Norwegian Sun. So the Pearl and Jewel will sail in 7-night Glacier Bay and Sawyer Glacier itineraries from Seattle, and Norwegian Sun has 7-night Alaska cruises between Vancouver and Seward in the USA. New for 2017, there will be 3 longer itineraries, giving the guests the opportunity to be fully immersed in the beauty and the wonder of Alaska. On the Jewel, guests can choose from a 8-night Sawyer Glacier cruise from Vancouver to Seattle, which is on the 5th of May. And it features port calls in Quechuan, Juneau and Skagway, and the icy Strait Points in USA, Victoria, Canada, and a cruise past the Sawyer Glacier. There will be a link to the story at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, or you could visit the NCL website.com. Also for Bahamas and Florida, the recent refurbished Norwegian Gem will have 7-night cruise between Bahamas and Florida from New York in 2017. And it's going to include Great Stirrup Bay and Nassau in the Bahamas. Bermuda, and they'll be from New York or Boston to get to Bermuda to sample the pink sands of the island. And there will be 7-night cruises every Sunday from April until September. And also there will be some cruises for Canada and New England, a round trip from New York City in 2017. These are 7-night sailings in June, and they call in Halifax and St. John, as well as Bar Harbor and Portland in the USA. So it's going to be very good to see in the foliage and the autumnal colours. So something to look out for if you're interested in that. But don't forget, if you're on an Alaskan cruise, you can actually have a tour of the most northern, western and eastern US state. Yes, it is all free. It has no chance of being the most southern, but it is the most eastern, it is the most western, and it's definitely the most northern. If you're not too sure about the eastern bit, do get a globe out and have a look. Anyway, I've featured Alaska a few times on the show, and it's something that the tourist board are encouraging people to do, is do a one-way cruise, get to Alaska, then explore the state yourself in the internal of the state. But if you do that, there will be a link on John Guinn Travel Show to earlier shows, so you can find out more about Alaska if that's of interest to you. But anyway,